Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Welcome to all my beloved listeners. I'm really excited to record today's episode because today we are going to talk about how to read your child's numerology chart. Now, you might be already a parent, you might be planning to become a parent, but even if not, you are definitely a child of some parent. And therefore, this episode might be relevant for each and every one of us in some way. Now, if you're new here, I want to welcome you to this podcast and tell you that in this podcast, we discuss numerology in an in-depth manner, as a path for inner transformation, as a path for inner growth, self-knowledge, self-understanding. My personal approach is trying to make numerology as accessible, grounded, and applicable for everyday life matters so that we can really use it to grow and progress in our lives. Now, a couple of technicalities that might interest you. A, if you haven't done so yet, I really welcome you to join my Facebook numerology group. The link is found in the podcast's main page. It's a very active and high-quality group where you can learn a lot about numerology. You can also find the group on Facebook directly under the name Numerology GPS for the Soul. Now, if you haven't gotten a numerology reading yet, I really recommend you get one for yourself. And if you want to, contact me through my website link. If you want to go a bit further and study numerology in a self-paced manner, I really suggest you check out my self-study course. Again, link provided in the episode description and the podcast description. And last but not least, if your dream or your wish is to become a professional numerologist, you can potentially study with me one-on-one. And all the info again is on my website. The link is provided in the episode description and the podcast description. And after having said all of that, without further ado, let us dive into today's topic. So, first and foremost, when we look at our child's chart, there is one fundamental thing we need to understand. A child is in the very beginning stage of their life, which means that most of their life is still ahead of them. Now, what I'm going to tell you now is an important principle in numerology as a whole, not only when looking at children's charts, but actually when looking at any person's chart. We really need to understand at what life stage they are. A child is in the beginning of their life, which means that most of their numbers have not yet come into manifestation. You are basically looking at their future. And I'm talking about like a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, right? Most of their number are yet to be manifest. On the other hand, if you're talking to an older person, you're mainly looking at lived experiences and can learn about what they have experienced, their past, what they went through their life, and so on and so forth. And you can help them refine and integrate and understand what they went through. If you're talking to simply an adult person somewhere in their midlife, right, you're looking into a fully active chart with some past and some future, some things to integrate to create a better, more conscious future. Now, with your child, you're going to look, since this episode is dedicated to reading your child's numerology chart, that is so important, right? As parents, we want to be able to understand our child the way they are, with their soul intentions, and adapt ourselves to what they truly need so they can flower and flourish. Now, when you're looking at your child, and if they're a baby or a toddler, the numbers that will be most immediately visible and active in their chart will be the life path number and birthday number. Both of those are derivatives of the date of birth. And as such, they come online the earliest. They become active, visible, and palpable. It's like if your child is a 7, very early on, you're going to see some qualities of depth. If your child is a 3, you're going to see very early on some qualities of humor and laughter and charm. Right? If your child is 2, you might be seeing deep sensitivity or talent for music, and so on and so forth. These are like those qualities, the life path and the birthday number are going to be seen pretty early on. So for example, if you want to know, if you're, okay, let's put it this way. If you have a baby, a newborn, or a little toddler, let's say up to 2 years old, and you want to know more about their immediate reality, it's better that you focus on their life path and their birthday numbers, because the other numbers haven't yet developed. We're going to talk about in a moment. But these are the qualities that if somebody is going to talk too much about the other numbers in their chart, you're not going to be able to relate to them yet at that point. So first is, as I said, the life path and birthday numbers, derivatives of the date of birth. Next, in the child's development, say around the age of 3, 4, they start to shape some of their points of view, some of their thoughts. They start asking questions. They start to become very curious. And that's when the soul urge number kicks in. The soul urge, especially in the method that I teach and my teacher taught me, the human body method, we refer to the soul urge as the head number, but don't sweat it. Don't try to remember that. And the soul urge is about our goals, aspirations, dreams, but also our ways of thinking, our ways of understanding. And so our way of shaping our points of view, our opinions. So in many ways, the soul urge starts to emerge, right, somewhere in the age of 3, 4, when we start to learn how to speak and articulate ourselves better, and start to have some opinions about things and ask specific questions to our parents. We become more interested in things, okay? So that's kind of the progression. Then you look at that number. As a child grows a little bit further, say age 5, 6, 7, they become much more of a social being. And as a social being, as a social self, they develop what we call the personality number, right? The personality number reflects the external persona, a part of us that bridges the inner with the outer. We learn what works and how we fit into society, what kind of behavior, and how we can kind of navigate the different energies and forces of other people. So then the personality number comes in. Now, there's one number that I haven't talked about yet that takes much longer to really blossom and develop, and that is the expression number. Now, the expression number is unique in that it actually comes to fruition, we can say somewhere about between the age of 20 to 25, right? Somewhere, beginning to mid-20s. So it's like, give or take. It's not that you cannot see any of that number's behavior earlier on, but you're not going to see it in full bloom. It's more like you might see some of its behavioral patterns, okay? So for example, if your child has a 1 expression number, maybe early on you're going to see that they tend to, sometimes they tend to be very assertive, like taking the lead, or they behave in a very direct and sometimes even abrupt way. But there are different qualities or aspects and dimensions of the number 1 or any number that will appear in that location that will not be active until a certain age. And I'll even go as far as to say that it continues developing even into your 30s and sometimes 40s, like until you really, really come to see the full bloom, the full blooming of that kind of number. So that's like only as adults. Okay, now when you are interpreting your child's chart, And that is valid whether they're 1 year old, 2 year old, 5, 6, 7, or even 12. It doesn't matter. They are still mostly beginning with a lot of future, right? Not much past, a lot of future ahead of them. So it's like you're mainly in the very, very beginning looking at an active life path and birthday number. Sorry for these moments of stuttering. It's because I think in other terminologies, like in my method, in the human body method. So when you're interpreting your child's chart, you're basically looking mostly into their future, because you're looking at numbers that haven't yet manifested themselves. So you actually can learn a lot about the experiences that will shape your child. Isn't that amazing? Right? So it's like you look at the life path number, you look at the birthday number, and that gives you some kind of insight into the immediate traits or character of your child. And all the other numbers that say circle or surround, right, the life path and birthday numbers, the solars, the personality, the expression numbers, all of them actually tell you a lot about what kind of experiences, influences they will experiences, right? What kind of atmosphere will be in their life? What kind of different and when I say influences, by the way, and surroundings, I'm talking about, well, not other than you, the parents, not other than the siblings, not other than their experience at home, or the closest people to your child are the people that will leave impacts and shape their personality. So through the numbers, you can actually learn what they have come here to become and learn, whether the numbers are conflicted or harmonious. It doesn't matter. That's the choice of the soul, right? We can only do as much as we can and do the best that we can. Oh, nobody is a perfect parent, and we can also do the best that we can, and still our child wants to learn what conflict means. And in a way, I mean, even if your numbers are fully harmonious, life is just not an amusement park. Life is challenging for all of us. So, but still, it's super interesting because you are able to understand what kind of experiences they will want to experience, and how to maybe mitigate some of the negative effects, for example, or the challenging influences that, for example, don't work in line with their life path and birthday numbers that are, again, derivatives from the birth date. And at the same time also simply accept and deeply surrender to the path their soul chose to have with you and in their specific lifetime in general. So that's really a gift. You're really able to prevent a lot of pain and also prepare yourself and your child for what they're meant to become. In other words, you are supporting your child to be themselves. Learning numerology, and this is why I always, really encourage people to study numerology, at least on some fundamental level, because learning numerology can really help you support your child in being themselves. I think that many of us fall into that trap of wanting ourselves and also our closest people, including our kids, to be other than they really are. We try to impose our dreams on them and our projections on them and our own perception of what life should look like, which of course reflects our numbers. And we forget to look at their numbers and what they're meant to do and what they're meant to be. And maybe they're very different than us. And that's I mean, where numerology really kicks in and makes a big difference, because it helps you come to appreciate their uniqueness as well as yours, right? So you can respect your boundaries and you can respect their boundaries and create an atmosphere and a surroundings for them that really supports their tempo, their temperament, their needs, their deepest lessons. And as I said, also help them mitigate certain challenges, conflicts, blockages, and potential traumatic experiences by supporting them, by understanding, first of all, what these number interactions mean for their future. Because again, with our children, we're looking mainly at their future. So what do these numbers mean potentially in their future, for better or worse? We want to cultivate the good, so to speak, and try to mitigate or give context for the negative, quote unquote, or for the challenging. And that's a great, great privilege that you have if you have access to numerology, or to a good numerologist that can help you make sense of the numbers, because it requires study. It's not enough to just read something online. You can read about the meanings of the numbers, but even that is limited. But what you cannot really read about, and there's not enough information, is how the numbers interact with one another. And when you learn how the numbers interact within your child's chart, for example, you can really help them make the best, even out of the difficulties that are laying ahead of them. So we're helping parents to let go of projected personal dreams and wishes that only bear down on their child. And we're helping them also cultivate and foster what is positive and empowering for their child, so that your child or anybody's child can simply be what they're meant to be. And I personally, as I teach numerology to students from different countries, I always have this little wish. This is not my destiny, but I always have this, wish that maybe one of my students will have this natural impulse or attraction to try to bring numerology into the educational system. Because I really and deeply and truly believe that if parents, educators, and children learn the fundamentals of numerology and learn to appreciate one another and see that everyone has a unique path, we're going to be able to promote values such as acceptance and mutual acknowledgement and mutual support and love of the different, right? And an approach that is much more pluralistic. So I hope that by presenting this perspective on how to look at your child's chart, I have given you some tools to really observe it from the right perspective, right? I mean, it's more, again, with a child, there's a lot of creative process going on. Creative in the sense of it is still creating itself. That your child is mainly a tabula rasa, right? Like just a blank canvas that is yet to become what they're supposed to become. So it's your job to really learn their numbers and learn their interactions and come to know the unique being that is coming to your life. So it's really a great service to yourself and your child to know and learn numerology. Okay, my friends, I hope you have enough food for thought. I mean, I believe this is a very, very interesting and important topic. And so just to remind you, if you haven't done so yet, please feel welcome and invited to join my Facebook numerology group. As I said, the link is provided in the episode description and the podcast description. And also you can find it on Facebook directly under the name Numerology, GPS for the Soul. If you want to get a numerology reading, please contact me. Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy. Through my website link. If you want to study numerology in a self-paced manner, go check my self-study course. If you want to become a professional numerologist, on the other hand, or simply learn numerology in depth, then consider studying one-on-one with me. You can find all the information on my website, and the links are provided both in the episode description and in the podcast description. My friends, take care, and as always, I will see you in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.